morning to everybody. Myself K. Madhu. I am pursuing BTech second year in Srinivas Ramanathan Institute of Technology in Anandapur. Today topic event handling in Java. Subject name oriented programming Java. Event handling in Java. A comprehensive overview of event handling mechanism in Java. Introduction. This presentation explores the fundamentals of event handling in Java. We will cover the basic concepts, types of events, and the implementations of event handlings. Basics. What is event handlings? Event handlings is a key concept in Java. Programming that allows applications to respond to user interactions and other events. It facilitates communication between objects with a program, enabling them to react when certain actions occurs, such as mouse clicks, keys presses, or window movements. Types of events in Java. Java categorizes events into several types, including action event, example button clicks, mouse events, example mouse movements, and key events, example key presses. Each event type has its own specific characteristics and is represented by different classes within the Java event model. Event sources and listeners. Event sources are objects that generate events such as button text fields or windows. A listener is a interface that defines methods to handle specific types of events. In order to respond to event, developers must create listeners classes that implements these interfaces and override the methods to perform actions when events occur. Implementations. Creating event listener classes. The handle events in Java. Developers must create classes that implement the corresponding event listeners interfaces. These classes defines the behavior that should occurs when an event triggered. For example, if button is clicked, the associated listener classes must be implement the action listeners interface and provides specific actions in the action perform method. Registering listeners to event sources. After creating event listeners classes, the next step is to register them with the relevant event sources. This done using methods provided by the event sources classes, such as add action listeners for buttons. For registering a listeners for event source can notify if when specific event occur, enabling the defined actions to be performed. Handling events in Java. Event handling in Java involves managing the flow of events and responses between sources and listeners. Once a listener is registered, it waits for event to occur. When an event is triggered, the event sources calls appropriated methods to the listeners executing the defined actions. The mechanism the mechanism is essential for creating interactive applications. Conclusion. Event handling is a crucial part of Java programming that allows applications to respond to the user interaction effectively. Understanding event sources, listeners, and how to implement the visual for developing responsive Java applications. Java categorizes events into several types, including action events, mouse events, and keys events. Each event type has its own specific characteristics and represented by different classes with Java event models. Event sources and listeners. Event sources are objects that generate events such as buttons, text fields, or window. A listener is an interface that defines a method to handle specific types of events. In order to respond to events, developers must create listeners classes that implement change interface and override the methods to perform actions when event occurs. Creating event listener classes. To handle event in Java, developers and created classes that implementation the corresponding event listeners interfaces. The class defines the behavior should occurs when event is triggered for the example. Thank you.